Today, dosto, it's been 7 years that I have been filing taxes in the US and I have almost 3 to 5 sources of income. My tax returns have become complicated as compared to when I was a student. So today in this video, I'll tell you how I manage the taxes, how I manage all the money that I make and report it to the IRS, because you need to be bulletproof. Agar aap bulletproof ho, bulletproof means that you are away from the audits, because if you do a mistake, there's a possibility IRS can put you through audits and it could be a problem. So that's why today I'll be revealing everything from start to beginning, how I manage my money and file for taxes, because filing taxes deadline is April 15 if you are an individual. If you are a business LLC, then it is March 15. So deadlines are around the corner. Let's get into it. Now, as an introduction, 7 years ago, I came as an international student. In the first 5 years, I was filing for completely international student F1 visa tax related form, that is 1040 NR. You can see the dedicated video on international student, because today I'll be talking about how I have evolved, because international student ke liye it's a separate video. Now, talking about how I manage my money. So I have 3 to 5 sources of income. Let me tell you each one by one. Number one, software engineering. I get W2 from my company that I work for. Number two source of income is the stocks that I sell. So let's say I have portfolio on RobinHood, Fidelity, WeBull. You can find the referral link for all three in description below if you want to check that out. And number three is that I have interest income. I use my favorite bank called SoFi Bank, from which I get interest. Even I get almost 0.5 interest even on my checking account. Jo bhi paisa bank mein aata hai, whatever money I make in my bank, it simply gives me interest rate. That is amazing from day one. So all of this adds up to like a lot of income: interest income, stocks income, plus my software engineering income. Now, number four is some miscellaneous income that I cannot reveal right now. Now, talking about how I organize everything. So step by step, in my year 2023, before it was ending, first thing that I made sure was my HSA bank. So to minimize taxes, मैंने सबसे पहले check किया that my HSA is maxed out. Now, as an individual, I can put 3,700 in my health savings account. Do you know what that means? That means कि all that amount will be tax free. I don't pay any taxes on that amount. Now, number two thing is that I organize all the charity I do. For example, I go to Goodwill, donate some clothes, and I collect those receipts, because every donation I do is tax free. Number three step that I do is I make sure I sell some stocks in loss and as well as a profit. So मेरे case में क्या, let's say that I made, let's say $10,000 on a stock that I sold. Let's say it was Meta stock. Now, I lost a lot of money because of my stock called Fiverr. I've had invested a lot in Fiverr. Now that stock is down. So us pe, I don't believe in that stock anymore. So I sold on a $10,000 loss. Now, because I have $10,000 gains on one side, $10,000 loss on one side, so I pay zero capital gain tax, because I did some mistakes in my stocks. So this way I don't pay taxes on it. Plus, I had some crypto losses. I lost $27,000 on FTX app. So I gathered that, and I can only report $3,000 or those FTX losses, and that's what I got to know. So these information I collected. And let's say that you have an LLC. So if you have an LLC, what I do is that I make sure all the bills are paid by 31st December, so that whatever remaining amount is, that is your income you show for LLC. So these were the steps you have to take by 31st December. So if you didn't take by then, you can take now. Now let's talk about how I go through the process of filing my tax return. Now, number one step I do is I collect all the tax forms. I have tax forms like W2 for my employer software engineering income. Number two is my interest income from SoFi Bank, because as I told you, right, you can find SoFi Bank in the description below, and with SoFi you can even refinance your loan, student loan, even in the US if it is in US dollars. A lot of students complimented that I shared on Instagram about it as well. You can check out all the referral links. With that, you can get $300 in your account. You can check it in description below. And now number two was SoFi interest statement, that is 1099 interest statement that I get, because I had money in a bank account that gives me interest, a lot of interest. Number three step is I collect my 1099 from my stock portfolio. Number one stock portfolio, Fidelity. Number two, RobinHood. Number three, WeBull. So I use these and collect it all. Number four information I collect is my charitable contributions. And number five, I collect my HSA account contributions. How much money I put into my HSA account to save taxes. Now this is all collected. Now next step, I have three ways to file taxes. Number one, for federal taxes, I can file them for absolutely free. There is a website called freetaxusa.com. You can file your taxes for free for federal, no charges. But the problem is, since I have multiple sources of income, crypto also, I forgot to mention, with Fidelity, I also get Coinbase report because I invest in crypto through Coinbase. So all of this report is so tedious to put it manually into freetaxusa.com or let's say turbotax.com. All of these apps that I use takes a lot of my time. So that's why I've hired a tax accountant, and through my employer I get a free tax accountant as well. So if you work for a big tech company, please check if they give you a tax accountant. And in my case, I get TurboTax Premium for free, and in that, like, someone is there to help me, but I prefer that an accountant who I can simply give all the information and be stress free, because it takes a lot of time and I don't have patience anymore. And आप use कर सकते हो for services like HR Block is very common. They provide an accountant for $400-500. There are other accountants as well you can find from wherever you want to, but I prefer accountant because it gives me peace of mind and it saves a lot of time as well. Now, after collecting all that information, there's one more step I do, is that is F-bar filing. Since I am a US resident, in my Indian bank account, whatever day I had, let's say, more than $10,000, chahe mutual funds in India, whether it is stocks in India, whether it is my bank account, SBI bank account, all those banks, I check what was the highest amount of money I had last year, and then I collect that, put it in a sheet of paper that my accountant asked me, and put, let's say that I had one day $12,000 in my, let's say, ICICI bank. So I put that information, give it to my CA, and then in the end what I get is a 1040 form in which everything is there, and I double check. I on the phone I check, yaar, is my income from SoFi Bank there, crypto there, Coinbase there. I double check everything, understand every single piece of information to be bulletproof, because I don't want to miss any information. Agar aap miss karte ho, for example, if your social security number is wrong, you can fix it easily. But if you do not report all the income, you can get audits, and with audits you may have to pay some fines, and it's really complicated. So I want to avoid audits, so I check every single information on my tax return carefully on the call. And even if, let's say, you forgot to report some stocks that you sold accidentally in 1040 an hour, that could be a trouble. So that's why every information is important, and that's why I hire an attorney. So that's all, yeah, I go through pretty much. Now, what has changed in the last few years? When I was an international student with one source of income, I was able to do easily. Being an international student, I used to use Sprintax, fill the form, and very easy process. I miss those days. But now, since you have stocks, crypto, it is really complicated to do on your own. I have tried actually TurboTax as well. 2 years ago I did TurboTax, but it took me 3 to 4 hours to fill, and I was always scared, did I miss anything? So it was very tedious for me. So that's why hiring an accountant is worth it, and they help me get some tax refund and try to tell me the best ways and guide me well for saving on these taxes. So that's what I do, but I make sure I report every single income, whether it is like, let's say I was using my Chase bank account with which I showed you I got business class flight. Now with that, I referred to you all, and I got a statement key because I referred to many of my subscribers. Now I have to pay taxes on that referral bonus as well. That became miscellaneous taxes. So I report that as well. So every single information I try to report and be transparent. So I recommend you all the same as well. Don't hide anything from them, and don't take a risk of audit, and stay safe. And that's all. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.